I want parents to be able to make fundamental decisions for their own kids.
Well,
So it will be where the policy goes, the parents need to make informed decisions. I don't care that you're not tracking my kid. The next person may care. They should know that so that they can make an informed decision.
Well, there's two levels to that decision, and I agree with you. If BYOD is in place, that's a decision that the parents make. But as a community, to decide the policy for the whole school, they need to understand what we're providing and whether they think that that's a good policy for the school to move ahead with.
Yeah,
And to
but we can
frankly-
be honest with them and say, it is the same as when your kid goes to the library.
Well, and to be honest,
It's the same as when your kid is in Starbucks. It's the same as when your kid's in Dunkin' Donuts. It's the same as when
Yeah, I
your kids
know.
are...
that doesn't offer me a lot of security as a parent, because I think we with our kids or with school, we have a level of security that is much greater than Dunkin' Donuts or anything else.
Right.
No,
Well,
other
there's
issues.
an important missing piece though too, is you have to remember that, right, not only is our filter SIPA compliant, I mean, and I've mentioned that several times, but I think it's important, and I know I've mentioned that several times because there's a reason we have by law to block certain sites, and we do that. I think there has to be that's our starting point, is we meet that at every level that SIPA requires us to. And every district I've been in, that's the first thing I make sure is, are we compliant with SIPA? Now the other piece too, and I think it's important, is that it's not the wild, wild west here where kids are running up and down the halls, you know, holding up their devices saying, look at this, we've got our teachers who are invested, you know, in this pilot program have been doing a pretty darn good job managing the usage of devices and how they're being used. This is an educational endeavor, but this isn't a curriculum. We don't have a curriculum attached with BYOD. This is not something that, you know, we went out and got curriculum with it and brought it in and said, you know, here's our replacement for what we did before. This is a change of policy. Before they couldn't bring devices, now they can.
But let me just say,
And I think all this other stuff, you know, we get into a lot of it, but ultimately that's what it is.
but let me just say, Matt, I've never questioned the filtering.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know you brought it up a couple of times, but I'm just
But
saying.
that's been
from what- no,
that's
it
been the
hasn't.
point of
That's the
every
Bearcat-
discussion.
That's the Bearcat Cafe
No,
is
no.
the filter.
That's been everything has
No.
been about that though.
No, Matt, it hasn't been the filtering function. I've been looking at tracking data.
Right, but every
And this-
discussion has been about, you know, and I've said it time and time again, we're filtering what we're required to by law plus more.
But have I ever said that you are not filtering properly?
We've had a lot of discussions
No,
about
no.
the filter and what we're doing and what
No.
we're not doing. It gets a little confusing.
No, but I'm asking you this, Matt. Have I ever said to you, you are not filtering websites properly? It has never been my subject. My subject has been, how can we track
Yeah.
the data? The data that is tracked, my knowledge of the data being tracked is through the Barracuda. It also provides the filter function, but I've never said that. The other thing is about investing, you know, and trusting our
We
teachers.
trust our teachers.
But Matt, what I'm looking for
Yes.
is
Wait a
data.
minute, wait a
Can I please finish? Because
No, no.
well, no, Phil,
because
he went on and on.
I
did, I went on.
But here's what I'm going to say to you. We came here tonight to answer questions. The debate is a policy debate. Neither he or I are going to be part of that debate. So the policymakers will make decisions. We're answering questions. I don't want to debate whether we should be doing something. It's not ours to debate. I have a personal opinion about where people stand on this. I don't have a vote. Whatever the board decides is what we will do.
Yeah.
What we're here for tonight is to answer functional questions. And I see us getting off into a little bit of a debate.
I agree.
I'd like to stick to the, and I'm sorry for interrupting, Dave. I just want to stick to the functional questions because ultimately you're one of 5 people that will make the decision. And we're not going to get involved in that 5-way
Right.
debate.
Yeah.
That's among the 5 of you.
Right.
And we will then implement whatever 3 people tell us.
Yeah,
out of
I
5.
mean, you can take a look at the network, you can make changes, you tell me how you want it to be set up, that's, you know, and we'll make that work the best we can.
I'm looking for data. That's what I'm looking for. And really, that's what I am trying to find out. Because I am going to have to be one of the people that make that decision. So I'm looking for data. And when I say data, and no offense, I don't mean that, you know, our teachers are working hard to stop this or they're not. I mean, that's not data. Data to me is numbers. It's things that we can tangibly look at, we can compare, and things like that. I'm not saying we're not going to take into account the level of teachers that we have and the things that are going on. Of course we are. But I am trying to determine how much data we can extract from the network that we have to use that to make a determination. And that's the main reason I wanted to come here. The other thing I'm trying to determine is how far are we from what I would consider a better environment. And that's what I'm hoping that you can get back to me with.
Oh, with that.
The log on,
Well,
the authentication. And so
then
forth.
just to summarize, Dave, you know what data we have and what data we don't have. Interesting word, data. And you know what the functionality is.
Yes, I think so.
And the one thing that we don't know is MAC address registration and how we could do it electronically and what that would mean. And we'll get that to you.
Is that something that we are going to be able to take a look at before we get into BYOD policy
I would like that before your retreat.
That would be great.
I'd like that before.
Again, I don't know how in-depth it is, so I don't mean to say, you know, you should have it one day or...
And to tell you the truth, I'm going to have Matt send it to you two guys, only because I'm not keeping it from anybody else. But if I send out, here's the electronic reader, people are going to be confused. So I think that when you do your presentation at the retreat, you'll want to talk about some of the stuff we're talking about tonight, but get that information out to Dave and Mike.
Okay.
So
Because they'll have the context in which we were talking about it.
I just want to ask you one question, Phil, about what you said, because I don't want to misunderstand you.
Yeah.
Did you say that you and Matt don't have a position on this, and you're not in the policy end of this discussion?
I have a position. I think we're being a little hysterical. I think one of our functions has got to be to teach kids to use technology responsibly. I do this for a living. I'm not a high-tech person. I'm not a software engineer. I'm not an expert, but I am an expert on kids. And my sense tells me that the biggest deterrent to behavior that we want to extinguish is supervision. And it's supervision with eyes and with caring teachers and other staff watching what kids are doing. I'm not going to debate that. You asked me if I have a...
You say it, and then...
No, but you want to debate. You said, Phil, do you have a position?
No.
Yes, I do. I'm right. You're wrong. That's my position. Your position is you're right and I'm wrong.
Here's what I was trying to ask.
okay.
Here's what I was trying to ask you, Phil.
It's okay.
You were saying there's 5 people that are going to make the policy decision, and you and Matt are not involved in that.
I said we don't have a vote.
We don't have a vote.
Right, but you're going to come with a position. Is that what I'm hearing? Or are you standing back and saying, you know, it's up to the board?
No, I'm not going to get involved in the debate.
Right.
We certainly, and I think that's what I said. The position is, it's happening around, I mean, I don't want to debate this tonight. It's happening in the world around us. I'm using the example of the kids can go to the Hooksett Library and be able to do this.
But now we're getting into it again, Phil,
but-
so let's either do it or don't. I mean...
But you're asking me a question.
Are you going to let me answer it?
No, you asked me. I was answering when you started.
I asked you if you were going to get involved in our school board discussion of this, that's all. I didn't ask you what it was.
My intent is no. But you know I can't keep my
Well,
mouth
then you're involved in it. That's my point.
So,
You guys have anything else for me?
are we all set? We'll get that information to you.
All right.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming.
You're
We're
welcome.
not doing BYOD till the 19th of June.
Right, and just my closing statement would be this, Phil.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about security. I'm more worried about distraction, because the stories that I'm hearing are not kids doing bad things. It's kids doing stuff that's just mind-numbing. Watching videos,
Well,
listening to music.
Yeah,
and
there's some good
that's why-
stories. I think
I'm not
we-
saying, yeah, but see, Matt, when I say
Yeah.
that, I'm not saying there's not.
Yeah.
I'm considering it as the distraction factor and that the educational benefit has got to outweigh
But if it's
that.
not a device, they're going to be distracted by something
No,
else.
wait a
No,
minute,
that's not
wait a
true.
minute, you guys, I want to
It
go
is
home, I'm
true.
hungry.
It is true. It's absolutely
I
true.
only know,
It
Dave,
sure is.
I don't know
They'll find
the
something.
source. And this is not a debating.
Right.
I don't know the source of the stories. I do know that before we come to you on the 19th, we will ask our teachers, we will ask our parents, we will ask our kids. And that's where I get my story from. So if the teachers say to me, I can't teach my class, you know what, these kids are playing games when they're supposed to be doing homework, then I would not intelligently support continuing to do something that did that.
Well, there's a little bit of common sense factor that needs to go into that. And I currently have a 6th grader, and she's got a lot of friends, and I get a lot of stories. And there's techniques that are involved in this to hide what's going on. There's a lot, and they're not going to answer on the survey. And they've told me how they answer on the survey. It's great, it's great, it's great. No, everybody does what they're supposed to. Because at 6th grade, they're old enough to know if they start saying, yes, it was so distracting, that the privilege will be taken away.
But what about the kids, what about the kids who aren't participating?
Right.
What investment do they have in fudging the survey?
I'm not saying they do. Well, they do
No.
have some, because if everybody says, don't say anything about it, I'm just,
Well,
we're a bit naive if we
I
think
have-
that nothing is going on.
I have a